Hello and welcome to the Be Glad movement. My name's Pollyanna and I'm on a mission to bring you as many stories as possible of good coming out of bad and reasons to be glad. And today I'm joined by Sam. Say hello, Sam.
Hello.
And Sam is joining us to tell us about her story, which all began when she had her baby girl. And I won't tell you too much. I'll let Sam tell the story. So if you want to dive straight in, Sam, and tell us what happened. What was life like for you back then when you first had your little girl?
It was very hard, to say the least. I had a bit of a troublesome pregnancy, as I'm sure most women have. I was doing like a 2-hour commute while I was pregnant on public transport to get into London. I worked in fashion, so it's quite, fast paced, not always the nicest atmosphere kind of place to work.
Right.
And my then husband was a chef, so he worked very different hours. We didn't really see each other that much. We'd been trying for my daughter for 3 years and had just started going through the process of what treatments we'd start having when I found I was pregnant. And so when she finally came along, and she was 10 days overdue, I had everything going to try and get her out, and in the end had to have an emergency C-section, which was quite traumatic in itself. Like, I was fine while they were doing it, because to be honest, I was just glad that the pregnancy was over. I was so fed up.
Oh, bless you, yeah.
But afterwards it was tough. Like, I was in hospital for about 4 days afterwards, and my husband he was always the last person there. Everyone else's husbands were there bang on 8 o'clock when they're allowed to be there. My husband didn't rock up till maybe 12. And I was in the hospital on my own a lot, and for a long time you're numb from the waist down, so even changing the baby or feeding the baby, I'd have to get a nurse to come and give me the baby, and it was just so stressful and so upsetting and just hard from day dot. And then I finally got home and I was so happy to be home, but because I'd gone so overdue, my husband had taken the time off while I was in hospital. So actually when I got home, he only was at home for a few days.
Oh no.
But he wasn't much help. He was tired a lot, so he slept a lot and left me to do it on my own. As a result, I did too much. I got 2 infections in my C-section scar, which were really painful. And it was just tough. Like, where I lived, none of my family lived nearby. They're all spread out over the UK. My friends all lived in London, still doing the fashion thing. And I just didn't really have anyone. I just felt so alone. And my mum kept on travelling up from Devon as much as she could. Well, obviously Devon's like quite far away.
Sure.
And, she came up a lot, but it was just so hard. And over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, mine and my husband's relationship just completely broke down. I never saw him. When he was at home, he just slept because he was tired, and he didn't have any interest in my daughter, which just really surprised me because he was 9 years older than me. We'd been married for a long time. He was the one who kind of pushed the baby idea, and I was like, no. And he just had no interest in her, and that just broke my heart. This beautiful little baby, and he had no interest. And so after a while I was like, I can't do this, I need some help. So I left and went and stayed with my parents in Devon for a while, just a couple of weeks. But then I felt guilty because then I didn't want him to not see my daughter.
Right.
So I kept going back, kept trying to make it work. And in the end, when she was 5 months old, I moved in with my sister and her then fiance. They'd only been in this first house they bought together. They'd only been in there a month. And then me and a baby turn up on the doorstep. Like, can I move in?
That's what sisters are for.
Yeah, they only lived about an hour and a half away from my husband. So then I was like, at least he can visit a bit easier than Devon,
Sure.
and we can try and figure this out and try and make things work. And I think deep down, I knew that the way he behaved, and it just like, I was just like, it's not okay. The way he is with her isn't okay. And the way he is with me isn't okay. Like
Right.
while we were apart, I could go like 4 or 5 days without ever hearing from him. Like no text or call to see how his daughter's doing, to see how I'm, like nothing. And
Wow.
I was, and I kept trying, and I kept saying to everyone, and people kept saying, why are you doing this? And I kept saying, I need to be able to look my daughter in the eye and tell her that I did everything I could. I
Yeah.
need to be able to do it. In hindsight, I wish I'd just stopped it then. But I
Sure.
can, like, you know, one day she is going to be older. She's going to be some, you know, gobby 16-year-old that's giving me grief about something.
Uh-huh.
And I need to be able to say, I did everything. And I really did. I gave him every opportunity, and I really tried to make it work and encouraged him to like bond with her. But it started getting better, and in the end he said, look, I need to be living with you. So we got a house together, where we live now.
Mm.
We got a house together where my sister was staying, in the same town that my sister was living in,
Yeah.
because I said, I'm not going back there, I need to be near my family. I
Right.
quit my job. I told work that I wasn't coming back. Told all my
Crikey.
friends I wasn't coming back to London. I was staying in Worthing. I was like, no, I'm staying far away. And I moved, and it was amazing at first. Then he moved in,
Oh dear.
and it was harder. It was
Mm.
harder. It was easier bringing up my daughter. So by this point, she wasn't even 1 yet. And it
Right.
was easier bringing her up on my own than it was when he was there. Because when he
Okay.
was there, I felt lonely, because he should have been helping me and he should have cared. They were like, I remember once I had gastroenteritis, and he didn't do anything. Like, he didn't help me at all. Like, I still had to get up with her, and I tried, can you take her? I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick. Oh
Yeah.
no, up in a minute. And he wouldn't get up. And so I had her with me while I'm throwing up in the toilet, and he just
Oh,
wouldn't help.
that must
Um,
have been heartbreaking for you. Like, there's not only like the anger because I'd want to knock his block off, but also,
yeah,
the pain of.
it hurt more than anything. It hurt. It broke my heart, and it made me so sad that he didn't want her. I
Mm.
was just like, you don't. We had the same arguments over and over again. I was like, you don't love her the right way. That's not how you love your child.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not normal. Like, but he was just like, this is the way I am. Or he'd always promise he'd change, and then he wouldn't. And
Mm.
well, I did get up with her so I could go back to sleep, because I'd been up with her all night. And so I got up with her. I'd been up for all night, and I said, can you just get up now, and I can have an hour's sleep before I have to go to work?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I will. All right. So I went to bed, went to sleep. He was downstairs with her. And next thing I know, she's pushed open my bedroom door and come in. She
Oh.
wasn't 1 yet. He'd fallen asleep on the sofa, and she'd crawled all the way up the stairs. He hadn't closed the stair gates. She'd crawled up the stairs on her own, and she was crying because she had a dirty nappy.
Oh my goodness me.
And that was it. I was done. I
Yeah.
was, how you could not close the stair gates, not notice she was crying, let her go. That when I thought about what could have happened to her, I lost it, and I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this. Like, I'm done. And it was like a little bit before Christmas, and he said, just give me till Christmas, just give me till Christmas. And I
Mm.
was like, hey, we'll get through Christmas. I made it to New Year's, and I told him to leave. I couldn't do it.
Right.
And from the day he left, it was the best decision I ever made. And I didn't make it lightly. I mean, this had been going on for over a year, backwards and forwards, trying to make it work, trying. The same rows. And I'm sure I wasn't perfect in the relationship. I think, like, you know, he says that I pushed him away. I pushed him
Right.
out, and it was always me and Zoe, and he wasn't allowed in. And I'm sure that is how he felt. But for whatever reason, it wasn't
Mm.
working.
Sure.
And making that decision was so hard, but it was the best thing I ever did in my life. And I was a mess when he left. It was hard, and it was so, so hard. And my mum came up to help me a lot because I was working full time,
Mm.
you know, with a 1-year-old, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It was the thing I found hardest was things like having a shower.
Sure.
How are
Yeah.
you supposed to have a shower? Where does the baby go? Um, and it was things like I got like a little tub chair, and she would sit in the bathroom and eat her fruit or her cereal in the bathroom while I was having a shower, so that I could keep an eye on her, and we'd
Uh,
have a chat while I was in the shower, which we still do now. She's 3.5, and she hears me in the shower. She'll get up, wander in the bathroom, and just stand there and have a chat. And it's, you know, it's our little thing, and it's nice.
uh-huh.
But things like that I just found so hard. And things like I used to run every now and, you know, I used to do running to try and lose weight.
Mm.
And how do you squeeze in a run when you work full time and you're a single parent?
Sure.
Um, so I figured, right, if I run home from work, it's the same as it would be for me to, it's quicker than it would be for me to walk. So I used to finish work, go for a run, pick up my daughter, big sweaty mess, then go home, be like, right, I've done that then. I've managed to squeeze that in. And anything like that was just such a big achievement.
Yeah.
Uh, it was hard. And then it just started getting easier and easier. And you don't think it will, but it does. And me and my daughter have the most amazing relationship. And maybe we would have had it anyway, I don't know. But because it was just us, we became so close, and like no one was getting in there. It's like she was so, like, you know, really protective of me, and I'm really protective of her. And we have all these little things that we do exactly the same, and our
Oh.
little in jokes, and our relationship was just magic. And like like I'm quite strict with her, and
Mm.
people always say, "Oh, you're really strict with her," and I was like, I was a single parent, and in my opinion, the only way you can survive as a single parent is by being very strict, because it's the only way to survive. You know, after a while,
Sure.
she's been naughty. If your kids be naughty over and over again, you don't have that backup of being able to say, "Oh, I'm going to tell your father." There's no one to do that with. There's no one to say, "Can you help me out? Tell them off. I've had enough."
Yeah.
You just have to be strict and really tell them off. And now it's like, you know, I don't have to tell her off. I just give her the look, and she's like, stop what she's doing. She's like, I'm not going to push that. Then Mum's giving me the look, and we still have an amazing relationship. And as it turned out, I decided to start dating. I didn't
Right.
want a boyfriend. I didn't want a relationship. I was like, I got to the point where I was actually, you know what? I'm really happy with us. And we had our little house, and I was like, it's the girls' house. Everything's pink.
Uh-huh.
Everything's free. We sing and we dance. And like my neighbours thought I was mad because they'd always walk past the window, and me and Zoe would be like dancing around the house, being crazy. And it was like, girls' house, what you do in a girl's house.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not interested in having a man come into my, but I was like, I want to feel like a woman as well as a mum. I want to go on a date and feel pretty.
Sure.
And after you've had a kid, you don't really, well, I did not feel like that after I'd had my daughter. Like, I felt a mess. So I went on a few dates. Some of them were a bit interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then I met a very, very nice man who has turned out to be the most amazing dad for my daughter. And neither of us thought it would go that way. He was very persistent. I was very hard work, as was my daughter.
Uh-huh.
But we live with him now, and he's just amazing. And she dotes on him. And it was, at first, she was really resistant, and she found it really difficult that there were 3 of us, because she didn't remember there ever being 3.
Sure.
It was always just us. And she did see her dad from time to time, but it was so random and sporadic. You know, she never really got used to it.
Right.
She used to call him Daddy, and then when she met my boyfriend, she always called him by his first name. And then over time, it's kind of changed. And now she calls her dad, Daddy Gary, although she hasn't seen him once in the last 10 months. So she's not
Right.
really talking about it at the moment. But that's his choice. I always make it very easy for him, but he's just not interested. And my boyfriend, she calls him Daddy.
Right.
And when we started doing that, I did not encourage it at all, because I was like, that's a bit weird. That's kind of freaking me out a bit. Oh, what am I doing? Oh my goodness.
Oh.
But she just loves him. And I never thought that even when I started dating, I never thought I'd be with anyone again. I never thought I'd trust anyone again.
Right.
And I never thought I'd want to be, I just thought I just wanted to go out really and have a social life. That's what I really wanted.
Yeah.
I never thought it would end up like this. And where my life is now, it's just amazing. When I think about what I went through when I had her and how miserable I was and how lonely I felt, I never feel lonely. If anything, I'm like trying to get away from them both to have a bit of space to myself. Like, I'm like, oh crikey, you two are just all over me all the time. But it's amazing. And like, he's been so supportive. My family have been amazing. I couldn't have done any of it without my parents, especially, and my sister and my brother-in-law. But no, even I lost my job as well, like through all this, which was horrendous. But I started up my own business and worked for myself, and I work from home, and I've cut down my hours, so I get to see my daughter like so much more.
Right.
And even my boyfriend more, because he finishes work relatively early, and we just have so much family time.
Fantastic.
And it's just amazing. And I never thought, when all of it was happening, when I was splitting up with him, I was like, no one's going to want me. Why would anyone want me? I'm overweight. I've got ugly C-section scar. I've got a 1-year-old. Like, how would I even fit in seeing someone? Like, how would that even work?
Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone in feeling like that. I think there's quite a lot of women that end up in your situation, but you've just gone to prove that actually you can find love after these situations, and you've started your own business. Tell us a bit more about that.
So I run a business which is for mums. So it's an online clothing store called Because I Said So, because all mums end up saying because I said so to their kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And I sell clothes, which are like, I sell some nursing clothes, maternity clothes, like clothes around play dates, and like twinning outfits for you and your child. And
awesome.
like, my daughter's like really involved in it as well. Like, I'll always sit down with her and be like, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? If it was up to her, everything would be pink dresses. So I have to like cut her off at some point. But it's brilliant. I love doing the business, and it means I still get to work in fashion like I was doing before, but completely on my own terms. And I love it. I honestly could not, there's nothing that could make my life any better right now. And if you'd asked me that 2 years ago or even 3 years ago, I'd never have thought I'd be here ever. And it hasn't been easy. And there's been times where I've been so down and so low, but it's all been worth it now. And now I look back and think, oh yeah, that was a really bad time, but it just makes it makes times like this where everything's really good feel even better, because it's like, yeah, that was really crap, but I didn't give up, and I didn't let it, I did let it get to me, obviously. We all have moments where we just sit there and have a cry of an evening, but I didn't let it win.
Sure.
And that means like I did feel so alone, and and now it's just so good. And I when I left my husband, it wasn't to meet anyone else.
Right.
That was not the plan. The plan was to stay just me and my daughter, and I watched a lot of Gilmore Girls, which I highly recommend for any single parent, especially if you've got a little girl, because it was like, no, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be Lorelai and Rory, and we're going to we're going to be best friends, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be okay. And it was brilliant. I mean, it's great now. I don't have to be a single parent, and I have someone to tag in when she's driving me nuts, and I have someone to tag in when I'm not feeling well, and that's great. I mean, if I had done it, if I had stayed on my own, that would have been fine as well. But for me, the big thing about having someone there is I'm happy that I don't think kids need two parents. They just need parents that love them and set a good example.
Sure.
And one thing, like, I've met a few people now that have split up from their partners or are thinking about it. And I've said to them, the thing that cinched it for me and that made me think, no, I need to end this, is I didn't want my relationship with my husband to be her example of a relationship she should aspire to.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want that in her head as that's a normal relationship.
Right.
If she was in that relationship, that's not okay. And I didn't want her dad, the way her dad treated her, for her to accept that as that's okay. Like, that's how, you know, to think that's okay for a parent to treat you like that, to pick you up and drop you whenever he feels, that's not okay.
Sure.
And you know, I didn't want her to think that was normal.
No.
And now I think, like, me and my partner have such a good relationship and we have so much fun as a family. And I think, you know what, if she met someone that treated them like he treats me and has a relationship like we have, I would be so happy. That's what I want for my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I do think, like, you do aspire to the relationships that you see around you,
Exactly.
especially parents. And you treat people the way people treat you, and you learn behaviour from your parents. Of course you do.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to behave like that. And now she doesn't really have contact with her dad, which I tried for so long to make him see her. And even when we'd split up and I'd started dating my boyfriend, I still was trying to get him to have a relationship with her of any kind. I've given up now. It's been like 2.5 years. Right, I've given up. I can't. No, it's fine.
I'm sure that being in the loving family that you've created for her, and she's going to recognise that it's her dad that's got an issue, that he's got the mental problems or whatever it is that's going on for him. It's not because she's surrounded by your love and your partner's love. I'm sure she's going to realise that it's not about her, any of her inadequacies, if any. You know, it'll be about her dad not being able to process properly. So
and I'm really honest with her, and I always say to her, like, I tell her the story of how Alex became her dad. Like, I'll say, like, because I don't want to lie, then it's just going to make more problems later. So I always say, like, well, it was just us two, and we had our girls' house, and then Mummy met Daddy, and he fell in love with Mummy, and then he met Zoe, and he fell in love with Zoe. And then he was like, well, I've got this house and I live all on my own. And so he wanted us to move in because he just loved us so much. And now we all live in the house together. Aww. And she's like, so Daddy fell in love with me. I'm like, yes, he did, Zoe, even though you were one, and the amount of times you read on his sofa just as we met. But he still fell in love with you, even then.
Oh, bless. Oh, that's such a cute story to tell her, because it keeps it real for her, but it also makes it very special for her as well. So that's lovely. Really lovely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it, because I really feel like everybody's story will resonate with other people and help them. There's bound to be someone watching this right now who is maybe at those initial stages that you were at with your ex-husband and wondering, like, what on earth am I going to do? So to see that you were brave and that you got out there and you did it for yourself, but you mostly did it for her, you know. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
I felt really lonely when it happened, and I went on every forum and everything to try and connect with other single parents to find out how it'd been for them, and it helped a lot. Just to know that other people have been through it and they've come out the other side and everything helped a lot. And so I'm happy to do it. It's fine.
Thank you so much. If you like this video, please do hit the subscribe button to get notifications when new videos are uploaded. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter if you search @BeGladMovement. We'd love to have you on there, and do get in touch if you've got a story that's similar. I really do feel that everybody's story is going to talk to someone else in some special way that will help them. So please do get in touch if you've got a story to share. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another episode.